Alright guys, if you can hear me and see me, I just had a bit of an issue with my microphone and literally had to restart the stream, but I think I have got it worked out now. So I'm just going through trying to get a couple of things fixed, and hopefully you guys can see me. Let's check it out. Let me see. Had some background music playing that needed to go away. Okay, guys, drop me a comment and let me know who we have here. Got a few folks watching. Again, guys, I had some issues, some technical issues. I tried to announce this a little earlier, and we are go. I can see there's a little bit of a delay for whatever reason. I'm trying to monitor the stream as well as all that. Let me get this little light on here. It's a little dark. And just to see how it goes. But I just wanted to come on and chat with you guys, as many as you want to come in here. And you'll notice I've got a couple of additional lights up behind me, and just trying to add a little bit of kind of some accent to the stream, to the background, make it look a little better. It's still got a long ways to go, but nothing's perfect, but we'll keep trying. And I figured that we would just come on here and just have a chat. I hadn't done one of these since well before Christmas, and decided that it was about time. I did announce this one a little ahead of time. We're up to a few folks. Again, drop me a comment over. Just let me know who we have in here. I would appreciate it, guys, if you would like and share the video and all that kind of fun stuff. It really does help my channel. We have had a little bit of growth. Currently, we are over 53,000 subscribers, and I think that's great. But yeah, just let me know who we have here. Okay, you have a couple of questions, so go right ahead. PX4 Storm and the new Gen 6 Glock. If you are asking me which of those that I would like, I'm going to admit that I'm going to give you a biased answer. My next pickup is intended to be the Gen 6 Glock. Nothing wrong with the PX4 Storm. I think that they are a good gun, but my personal preference is going to be for the Gen 6 Glock. I've got my eyes on a couple of possibilities. I've been checking with some gun stores around here, and it is hard. There's none of them that have them around here yet, at least none of the ones that I've called. But I've got one that might have dibs on a Glock 17. I'm not really wanting the 17. I want the G45. That's my favorite. That length, the 19X, the G45 is my favorite. And I'm really debating on holding out to get that, just because I know that that's what I want. Again, there's nothing wrong with the GX4 Storm. The PX4, I'm sorry, I was reading that wrong. But yes, like I say, there's nothing wrong with the gun, but again, that's personal preference. My preference, I'll take a Glock. But you do what you want. You've got to use the gun and shoot the gun that fits you the best. If you are more accurate with that Storm, go with the Storm. If you can manipulate it better, that is what you need to do. And that's one of the big things that I know you guys have heard me say many times over. You've got to find the gun that is right for you, not someone else. Okay, so get what works for you. Who else do we have out there? I see that we've got a few folks watching, and I'm sure that some of you guys have probably heard about how that Matt Hoover has finally been released. CRS Firearms. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of him. I think that he got a bit railroaded by our justice system, and still hoping that he is able to get that overturned and get his gun rights back. And, we'll just have to see. I really think that what they did, I know John Crump had him on his show back a couple of days ago and was talking to him. I didn't catch all of it, but I thought it's great that he's back out of jail, back with his family, especially this time of year. But I really hate that what happened to him happened. I think still there are a lot of legal questions that should have been settled back, just with everything that's done. If you investigate the case, if any of you guys have not heard about the case, Matt Hoover or CRS Firearms, basically what they were doing, this guy had created you could call it a novelty item. Basically, it was a metal card, and on that card was printed the lightning link. Well, if what with a lightning link, basically, that's what you could use actually to turn an AR-15 into a fully automatic rifle. And if you go through some of the case details, you're going to see that it's basically just a drawing. In fact, that's one of their arguments in this case, is they're trying to say that this is a First Amendment violation, simply because when the ATF did what they did as far as their tests, they did not basically cut out the card on the line that was drawn, and they had to basically oversize it, and then it still didn't work, and they basically just used lighter primers. They've done a bunch of shady stuff to get the gun basically to do a hammer follow double fire or something similar to that. Look into the details of the case, into the ATF testimonies and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to see that they railroaded him. And I think that it's a case that hopefully will get overturned, but who knows what's going to end up happening. What questions have you guys got? Anything Joe want to talk about in particular? I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm hoping to hear from you guys. That way this can be a two-way street. Did you get any new guns for Christmas? Let's talk about that. Did you get any new guns for Christmas? I didn't. At least not yet. I'm hoping to. But jump down into the description, guys. Get yourselves some blackout coffee. Use my code BoomStick and save you a little bit on your order. It's great coffee. And don't fret about a Black Rifle coffee cup. It works fine with blackout coffee as well. I'm not going to throw this cup away. This is a good cup. I'm not going to throw the cup away just because it's a different company. I've had it for years. But what kind of guns did you get? Y'all let me know down in the comments. I announced this one a little bit ahead of time just to try to let everyone know, and then had audio issues, and then we're finally back up and going. Had something going on with my microphone, had to completely shut the stream off and all that kind of fun stuff, and technical difficulties, but that's just all part of the fun. See that we've got a couple of folks in here, so again, I'm wanting to hear from you guys as much as possible, because I think that having feedback from you guys makes it much more lively. What else you got, David? Another thing about Beretta, they've got a few different models out there that the competition models. It's been a few months back when we were down in Bowling Green. It was when we met Hickok, when I got to meet Hickok 45, which great experience, great guy. I wish I'd had more time to talk with him. And they had some of the competition Berettas down there. Very nice guns, real nice guns. I almost thought about getting one, but it was just too much money at the time, with everything coming up at that time, Christmas coming up and all that. But they're nice. It's some of the competition models that they have out there. And there again, I've got my own preferences. Everybody has their own preferences, and that's the thing about guns. Everybody has their own preferences. They have got their own way of shooting. Your hand size plays into it, your body type, and that's why you want to make sure that you buy what works for you, not what works for somebody else. And you can take advice from people, maybe you can talk with people, but at the end of the day, you have to find what works for you. I mean, it's not going to depend on how it works for somebody else. It's going to depend on how it works for you, especially if you ever get into a situation to where you have to defend yourself. And plus, there again, if you don't like the one you're carrying, if it doesn't fit you, chances are you're not going to carry it the way you should. And if you don't carry it the way you should, you're not going to have it with you if you need it. But we are in the golden age of guns, I have to say. I've really been looking at the Kimbers, the 2K11s. I did a poll on my channel a while back. I know that some of you guys probably seen that, and if you haven't, just go over to the community tab and you can see it there. And I was asking you guys if y'all wanted to see more guns on concealed carry or more on, uh, you know, I guess you could say the 2011s, a lot of the newer stuff out there. There is Terry. I know you'd be in here somewhere, buddy. How's things going up your way? We're ready for 60-degree weather, I think, here in Kentucky for tomorrow. So that's going to be different. January of 2026 for Kentucky. We're usually cold by now. I think it was last year we were like freezing temperatures, but this year it's completely flipped, which I don't really mind it because I hate the cold weather. And I'm ready for spring. Christmas is over. I'm ready for spring. Bring on spring. Had my last concealed carry for December. That was the last one for the year. We're going to be doing some more coming up in the spring, and we'll see how that goes. I've already got a couple of folks, I believe, for that class, and we are looking forward to this year to see what it does. Spin this microphone real quick. It's acting like it's loose. And maybe a little bit better. Yeah, it's supposed to be around 60 degrees here also, and I guess it's going to be okay. I'd like about 65, but I'll take 60. I'll take 60 over freezing any day. That's just part of it. And, with the warmer weather, it works out a lot better for everybody. Do you know if Ruger is planning to make a full-sized or higher capacity in the RXM? I would not be surprised. With the popularity of some other calibers out there, in fact, I think that Ruger, you might check their website. Hopefully YouTube doesn't gig me over that. I think that they actually have started coming out with some different sizes. Don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. They may have had some more of the compact sizes. But as far as higher capacity, it if you get anything, well, any of the higher capacity Glock mags should work in those. For example, if you've got one of them, you could probably put a Glock 17 mag in it with no issues whatsoever. Or probably some of the aftermarkets, which be careful of those, make sure that they don't fail you. But I do believe that it's very possible that Ruger would do that. And I would not be surprised if you actually see them at some point, maybe doing different calibers, not just, the different size, different capacities. And I could see the same also with the Springfield Echelon. I think with what the Echelon has done, there's a lot of people that have been asking for that in like 10 millimeter, things like that. And whether or not Springfield responds, who knows? The one thing about Ruger, and I'm sure that it would play into it as well, with all of the stuff that's been going on with the lawsuits, with the fact that, there are all these lawsuits that where they went after Glock. Basically that Ruger is very similar to a Glock. And a lot of these companies, I mean, they've already gotten a letter threatening a lawsuit, because of, they're again, these companies, these groups or whatever, these anti-gun groups, they're already threatening lawsuits against them. Anything that's a clone of a Glock, which there's a lot of companies out there that are cloning Glocks right now. The old Gen 3s or whatever, there's a lot of companies out there that have made clones of them. They're all susceptible to these lawsuits. The courts should shut them down. I think that the courts are doing an absolutely terrible job when it comes to stopping some of these nonsense lawsuits. And unfortunately, these companies like with Glock and all that, I hate that they bent the knee, but at the same time, they've got to look at the financial risks that they could be facing as far as trying to fight a lawsuit. Terry, I was waiting for the holidays to be over to go to the range, so may go next Saturday. I've been wanting to go to the range myself, but we've had a crazy few weeks. It's been absolutely nuts. The weather's been nasty, and I hope to get to the range too, because I'd like to actually do some more range videos, especially if I get that Gen 6. Okay, they have a tactical version with a threaded barrel. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm sure, just with the popularity of that platform, with what they've done, I'm real curious about what you're going to see at SHOT Show this year. Um, you're going to see a lot of stuff there. I think that a lot of companies are going to have different things there. Ruger could come out. Who knows what they're going to come out with? I mean, just we don't know. Um, about the only one that we do know is Glock. As far as what they're doing with the Gen 6, which they're not going to be released until after SHOT Show or around it. I know they're trickling out there. I wish one of them would trickle my way. If any of you guys are friends with anybody from Glock, tell them I said hi. I want to get my hands on a G45, but who knows? And it's surprising. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of more 2011s coming out there. It seems like that's the big thing now, 2011, 2011, 2011. And there's some nice ones out there. Again, I love the new Kimbers. I think that Kimber has really changed their game, but I I really think that some companies are overdoing it on things, on some as far as what they're doing. I like the fact that it's driving the prices down for some of them, but at the same time, prices are insane when it comes to these 2011s. Even the budget models. I can understand some of the pricing on some of them, but man, it seems like that it's just insane what you would get as far as what it costs for manufacturing, which I've got a background in manufacturing, so I understand a little bit about how this stuff works. But I know there's costs associated, but my goodness, some of the costs of what they're charging for some of these newer guns is just absolutely insane. And they would sell more, I believe, if they lowered the price. The problem is they're going to maximize that price. They're going to keep that price as high as they can and just to sell what they can. And there's a lot of people that's paying it. I've talked about that before on my channel. And, it's something that I don't know. I'm not going to go insane as far as there's a lot of nice guns out there I'd love to have. I'm not going to spend that kind of money because I cannot recoup that kind of money. You know, the way that this channel works is basically the videos and stuff like that, the revenue, very little revenue that's generated from this basically is what pays for my hobby. So that's all this channel does. Anything out there that you guys want to talk about in particular? There again, guys, I'm here to talk with you. I'm here just hanging out. I may be the one on camera, but I'm here to talk with you guys. And I'd appreciate it if you would just take the link on this video, share on your social media. You can do that with any of my videos. It really does help the channel grow. And, invite others to come on and join. There again, guys, I'm just here to talk. And, I don't want to be the only one talking. So y'all jump in. I know that I look forward to see what's happening at SHOT Show. Um, really think that we're going to see some cool stuff out there. And then I think that we're going to see a lot of made over stuff, if you know what I mean. I guarantee you there will be another company out there making a new AR. Shopping around to get a 40 Smith & Wesson. I have to stay in the budget range. I completely understand. You've got a wide variety as far as what you want. If there is a particular brand that you want, in fact, I had a guy that took one of my carry classes. He got a Glock in 40 Smith and Wesson that it was used. He got a good price on it. And if you are willing, there again, if you don't necessarily want a new one, you can buy some used guns on the market that are very reasonable. And I am talking brand name guns, well known firearms, just like that one. It was a Glock. And you can find them. Just have to look around. Hello, who do we have here? Hunting stuff with Jared. Hello. But yeah, if you got to stay, I completely understand the budget range. And, as expensive as everything is getting, the budget range is more budget all the time. Um, but yeah, look around. And depending on the manufacturer, like I say, there's different manufacturers out there that you can go with. And there again, you can get some good deals on them. You just need to look around. And even online, I mean, you've got these different online places. I don't know how much I got to be cautious about talking about things like this, or YouTube will shut the stream down. But sometimes you can find things on them and just have them shipped to your local FFL, if you know what I mean. But just keep looking around. Don't buy the first thing you see. Don't get the first thing you see. Make sure that you're wanting, just what you're wanting. That you found exactly what you want. Hunting and shooting stuff with J and J. Okay, sorry about that. I was there again trying to catch it out of the corner of my eye. What you guys can't see, I have got the way that my mic is set up, the arm of it. I need to change it just a little bit. Where I've got the chat box, it's just like almost right in front of it. John or JJ? All right, whichever you prefer. Speaking of the budget 1911, do you think the Gerson Untouchable would be a good choice? Also, what is your opinion on buying police trade-ins? Police trade-ins can be good. Go over the gun very thoroughly. Check for wear. Check the barrel to make sure the wear on the barrel that you don't have any bulging, cracks, or anything like that. Um, but other than that, you can get some good deals on those. It really depends on how well they were taken care of. Obviously, they're going to be well broken in most cases, but just go over them and make sure they're safe. That's the main thing. As far as the Gerson, I'll tell you my experience with Gerson, and I do have a couple if you guys have followed the channel for a while. I have got the 2311 Witness. I also have a Gerson Negotiator. What I can say about the Gerson for the money, even though I think that there are certain models that are better than others, uh, the Untouchable, I'm not going to say that I have had any experience with that particular model. But the two that I have, the triggers on them are a bit heavier than what I think they should be for a 1911. I have had not many, but I have had a few, a little bit of unreliability with them. The optic that come on at 2311, just throw it in the trash. It's absolute waste. It's absolute garbage. Some of them can be good. There are, I think, a few QC issues, things like that. There are different manufacturers out there, depending on what you want to go with, within the same price range, and in some cases cheaper, that you can get a better firearm. You know, so just remember that. Look around if you're wanting a 1911. There's different manufacturers out there that are within the price range. Yes, I'm going to have to say, Gerson, they make some good looking guns as far as some of the features and things that they have, just like my Negotiator. Can't show you anything on it because they will kill this stream in no time if you even think about touching anything. But, you know, they look good, but if you're wanting something that you can go out and shoot and not have a lot of a fight with, look around just a bit. Find something a little bit better for, like I say, the same money. TSOS, that's a great option. SDS, they make some, my personal opinion, the absolute best within that price range. Personal opinion, but you know, you guys can debate that. But you know, police trade-ins, no problem. Go for it. Okay, and actually Terry's talking here, says his brother-in-law got a Glock 35. Nice shooting gun. Was that a police trade-in, Terry, or was that one that, or did he just bought straight out? But yeah, police trade-ins, don't be afraid of them. I mean, just there again, look over them, which most of the time, what they do with those guns, they send them back to Glock, they go through them before they're sold as trade-ins. You know, but still, you want to quadruple check because you never know how things can get through in, you know, manufacturing. But yeah, you know, don't hesitate. Don't think nothing about the police trade-ins, and you can get some good deals. You know, I mean, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of older ones out there. You know, I remember a guy that come through my concealed carry class, and it was actually what sparked me to hunt for my 4506 Smith. And he actually brought one to class, and I mean, I'm just drooling all over that gun at that time. This was before I had mine, and you know, it was at that point. I mean, like, I gotta get one of these, and it was an old police trade-in. It still had the department name on the side of it. But you know, and yeah, so there's a lot out there. Even you know, some of the old things that are out there, the revolvers. I remember Kentucky Ballistics. Scott did a video where he actually showed a bunch of different ones from the state police. Of course, he's a former state trooper, and he went through like the various years, the various generations of sidearms that they carried over the years. And I mean, I'm like, man, it'd be nice to have those. And I think is it the Glock 22 now that they're carrying? I can't remember for sure. It's a 40 caliber. I know some of the guys around here, that's what they carry. You know, at least some of the deputies, sheriff deputies, and things like that. I think some of the other ones, I think some of the local PD Glock 17s, and I'm not sure. There's a couple different ones out there. But yeah, police trade-ins are nothing to worry about them. I don't think good deals. Okay, we got 6 people out here. That's actually a step up. So what you guys interested in talking about? There again, guys, I'm here just to chat. You know, I'm here just to chat. Hoping to grow this. If you guys have any ideas, again, I've announced this one prior to, but then just had some technical issues. But you know, I still hope to do these every now and then. My goal this year is to increase the output, I guess you could say. You know, making more videos, growing the channel, and you know, just trying to see what we can do. Crack my neck. You might have heard that. But yeah, I'm hoping to grow this channel a lot more than what it currently is. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and what I'm able to do depends entirely on growth of this channel. You know, there's a lot that I'd like to do, but like anything else, time and money. So the more we can grow it, the more I'm going to try to do. One thing I've got to do coming up here in a couple of weeks, I've actually got to do my observation class. And I've told you guys before in a lot of my videos, if you've watched them, it's important to have a knowledge of first aid, CPR, this sort of thing. Basically practice what I was preaching on that. As many of you guys know, I actually do the classes. And I've got to go and do my observation class with the American Heart Association for my continued instructor certification here in a couple of weeks. Venezuela. Yeah, yeah, it's quite interesting what happened down there. I'd like to have some of the guns that they used. I'm sure that it was an H&K. I watched an interview, and for those of you guys, I'm sure Venezuela thing. John McPhee, all the words known as Shrek. And I'm sure you guys have heard of him. I mean, he was a Delta Force operator, known as the Sheriff of Baghdad. And it was his old team that actually went in there and did that job. I thought that was pretty interesting. And I like watching John's videos and stuff like that. And I mean, he's got some stories. I'm sure many of you guys have probably heard him on like the Sean Ryan show and stuff like that. And he's an instructor. He teaches classes to people. And that's one of the things. It seems as if, as far as training, I think that's a big issue with some. I mean, as far as like training, that's something people really need to train. Everybody, including myself, needs training. Yeah, Terry. I would be glad to have you. One of the things that we've been doing, just in case you want to do any kind of a refresher course, and this has really changed ever since like COVID, and it's a lot of what I do too. A lot of the course can be done online through the American Heart Association's website. And then basically what you do is you will then go to an instructor basically to do your skills check off. It's a big time saver, and that's the majority of what I do on mine. I mean, it's a big time saver for everybody because usually if you're doing like a full CPR, first aid, and all that, 4 or 5 hours minimum. If you're doing that, and what you can do is you can actually shrink that down to just a couple of hours. And it really helps for everybody. Everybody's schedule's crazy and stuff like that. I really pick up a lot during like the beginning of the school semester because you've got a lot of like nursing students and stuff like that that have to have their CNA or their BLS, their CPR certification and stuff like that. So that's when I usually see a spike. And different people, they have to have renewals just depending on their job and all that. And I've been, again, looking around. Everybody knows about the Glock Gen 6, but I've been trying to think of some particular guns, particular pistols, rifles, whatever, that would do well as far as viewership. Ruger has a revolver where you can shoot 45 long Colt and 45 ACP. How do you feel about that option? If you like shooting those, that's up to you. With the 45 ACP, I think they use some kind of moon clip or something like that. That's up to you. If you get something like that, I would look for some type of a moon clip loader. Some of those moon clips are easy to bend, and some of those loaders make your life a lot easier. Trying to put those 45 ACP rounds. But there again, by all means, I mean, if you like shooting 45 and if you like those, go for it. That's up to you. There again, man, I mean, if you like to shoot those, shoot the kind of guns that you enjoy shooting. And especially with the cost of, the 45 Colt, or the long Colt, as it's called, compared to the ACP, yeah, I mean, that's savings for you right there. And that's why a lot of your cowboy action guns, people get them in like 357 Magnum or 38 and stuff like that, simply because of the cost of the ammo. And there's, the folks that reload. I know there's a lot of guys out there that reload their own. Uh, but, for a lot of shooters that don't reload, especially, that cost of that ammo is just, yeah. That's just like with, my Taurus Judge. I don't, I haven't had any of the Colts, the 45 long Colts in it for a while just because of the cost of the ammo. I'm not even sure if I've got any. I'll have to do a check of my inventory to see if I have any. But yeah, go for it. I mean, if that's what you like, go for it. And I know that there's several different revolver companies that's done stuff like that. There's actually some out there that 9 millimeter. I mean, I've seen them in 9 millimeter. Me personally, I wouldn't do a 9 millimeter or anything like that, but that's just me personally. And Ruger's got a lot of nice revolvers. I actually had an SP 101 in my hands a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, and I don't know. I'm thinking about new 357 Magnum just because I want one. A nut, big surprise. And, maybe this year will be the year that I pick up a couple. But, if there's anything in particular, and there again, guys, that's where I'm curious of what your all's thoughts are. Some of the ones that you guys have a high interest in as far as what you want to see. And also, maybe more training videos, maybe more videos on techniques and things like that. That's just some of the things that I'm thinking about for this year, and even thinking about maybe trying to do some more first aid videos. I've done one on CPR a while back, maybe doing on a few other details, just to get it out, just to get it out there. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Because there again, guys, I'm curious as far as what you guys want to know. Revolver is my favorite handgun. There's a lot of cool revolvers out there. A lot of cool revolvers out there. And I see people, one thing that I see occasionally is, some of these large bore revolvers. You get these big 500 magnums and stuff like that, and you get these little bitty 100-pound soaking wet people that try to shoot them. Don't do that. I mean, it's just, uh, very easy to get somebody hurt like that. You know, 500 Smith, that's a serious round. Even, like the 50 AE. I mean, that's a violent recoil. That's an insulting recoil round. But I mean, there's a lot of cool guns out there. I've looked at a couple of old cowboy action guns myself. I just have not found anything that I've just been willing to spend the money on yet. Plus, being judicious in what I buy for obvious reasons. Revolvers are very cool. And shotguns and ARs and things like that. Has anybody bought a suppressor yet now that the $200 tax stamp no longer exists? I have got two on my list, on my want list, and I'm going to do, if I get those, I'm going to do some rifle content that I've been wanting to do. I want one for 308, for 30 cal, and I want one for 9mm. And obviously for my Mac 5, I want to put one on it, and it's a Mac 5. It's an MP5 clone. It's got to have a suppressor. I mean, it's like written in stone somewhere. You got to have a suppressor on one of those. And then I know that I'm going to have trouble keeping ammo in it when I do that. But it'll be fun. I mean, that's why we do a lot of this stuff. That's why we get a lot of the guns we get, is because it's fun. That Mac 5, there again, man, that's a throwback. I had thought about trying to do some kind of a skit, like a Die Hard skit or something this year, but I didn't. Is there an advantage of the 30 Super Carry over 9mm? There are not a lot of options for ammunition for 30 Super Carry. That round, I believe, is going to stay in minority, and I'll tell you why. With the advances in technology of 9mm, with good quality 9mm rounds, there does not seem, in my opinion, to be any advantage for the 30 Super Carry. Personal opinion, my personal opinion. You guys let me know your thoughts. The other thing, just like what you said, the limited amount of options for ammunition. You have got a huge range of ammo options in 9mm. People that are recoil sensitive, there is literally ammunition out there that has lighter recoil, but is still very effective for self-defense. You don't have that option in 30 Super Carry. With 9mm, you have got the option for short barrel guns, these subcompacts, which carry a gun that fits your hand that you can shoot well, not just because it's small. And also for your larger, more velocity, necessary rounds. Do your research, make your own opinion up. My personal opinion, no, I won't own 30 Super Carry just for the reasons why you mentioned there. I've not even seen any 30 Super Carry ammo. I think maybe one, maybe two places that I have been, and I don't think that they even had any guns. I think I've seen a couple of boxes of ammo, but I don't think that they had any guns whatsoever in 30 Super Carry. There again, I could be wrong. They may have had something there. I didn't see anything. But as far as the ammo, no. Again, that's personal opinion. Stick with 9mm. If you're wanting something to add, if you're doing a comparison between the 30 Super Carry and 9mm, my preference, stay with 9mm. Again, just my preference. But do what you want, but whatever you do, train with it. Be accurate with it. Be proficient with it. And all that kind of fun stuff. It doesn't matter what you're carrying. Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, it does kind of matter what you're carrying, but let me rephrase it. The main thing is whatever you choose to carry, you need to be accurate with it and you need to be proficient with it. Okay. You get somebody that is accurate and proficient with 30 Super Carry, they're going to be better off than somebody that is inaccurate with 9mm. And the opposite is true. Again, become familiar with what you're carrying, know how it's going to perform, when you need it to perform. Take those classes, get the training under stress, not just going to the range, staring stationary, straight down a range, shooting at a paper target. Get as much training as you can. Invest in yourself. Build the skills that you hope you never have to use. I mean, that's the reality of what we do. That's the reality of the training. Building the skills you hope you never have to use. Again, that's just personal opinion. More than willing to debate it with you. And also, while everyone is here, I want to do a shout out to one of my channel members, and that is Terry. Terry has been a long-term supporter of my channel, a couple of years. Isn't that right, Terry? And, I think that his supporter's been channel member and all that for, like I say, a couple of years. And I really appreciate it, Terry, and I just want to give you a shout out. And any of you guys want to join, I appreciate it. And I usually, have early access to the videos for channel members. And, if we get large enough as far as memberships, I'm going to do some members only chats. But, we're still a small channel, growing is slowly and hopefully continue to grow. But yeah, shout out to Terry. Everybody give Terry a hand. I appreciate it. Terry's a good guy. Terry's a good guy. I appreciate it. He's actually, he bought a couple of my shirts. Uh, I haven't been too awful long. He bought a jacket. I remember he sent me an email with a picture of me was wearing that jacket. Hope that jacket's still holding up, keeping you warm. You know. But yeah, thanks again, Terry, for your support. Anything else you guys are interested in talking about? I'm looking forward to spring. I know that. Warmer weather. Big time ready for warmer weather. We've got a few folks on here. We've been going for about 45 minutes. And you guys, I'm going to give you a few more minutes. And I mean, if there's anything in particular, I'd love to hear from you. We can just sit here and chat or other things. I'm just hanging out right now. What do y'all think about some of the lighting that I've done? Kind of behind me, you can kind of see I've got a couple of colored lights. Just trying to dress it up a little bit. Just trying to get in a little bit better of an idea. make it look a little better, a little nicer. But, you know, especially for some of the videos where I'm here. The clock store. No, I hadn't been to the clock store. I know what you mean. No, I have not been to the Glock store. I've been wanting to go down there. We've talked about going down there several times and just haven't. Maybe at some point now, if you watch some of the videos, like I've watched several walkthroughs of down there, um, and it didn't really seem like they had a whole lot of guns. Yes, they had quite a few, but there's gun stores around here, not far from me, that have many more than what they do down at the Glock store. I still maybe at some point try to go down there just because it's a Glock store, and I like to go just to see it, but I haven't got to the point of making a special trip down there yet. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's things that I want to see down there. The range, I'll tell you, some of the stuff that I've seen about the ranges. I think it would be cool to go down there and go shooting. I like what they've got down there, and I would like to see. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about this group, and I have no relation, no nothing. I've stumbled across them, and this is a place. I think it's down in Florida called Decision Tactical. Go look them up sometime here, and they have got like an indoor training facility, and this is exactly what I would love to do, but I know I'll never have the money to be able to do that. Basically, they have got various scenes to where they not only have props and things like that, but they have different scenarios that you go through, and you're actually shooting. It's like a cert gun. I mean, or simunition gun. I mean, it is a simulated firearm. There are a lot of police agencies that go through this place and do their training there, but it's open to the public as well. They got food there and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can go in, literally get you a burger and some fries or a few other things that look pretty good that I seen that they had, and then go shoot. Get your time on the range, go through a training scenario or just whatever you wanted to do. Go pretend you're John Wick for a while. I would love to go there. I would love to have someplace like that closer to here. Going to Bud's in Lexington. I've not been to the one in Lexington. I have been to the one down in Sevierville, and I like Bud's. I go in there all the time, and well, not all the time. When we're in Smokies, I like to go in there, and I bought ammo from them. I've never bought any guns from them. Some of the pricing that they had, at least on the one down there in the Smokies, a little high for what. Well, there again, depending on what you're after. And that's always the thing is you got to shop around. They had some surplus stuff down there once that I thought they had some good prices on, and it seems like they still have surplus stuff in there occasionally. At least the last time I was there, but nowhere near as much as they did. And there again, that's one thing about them too. I think it was a bunch of what was it, Nagants? I believe it was a little 1890 Nagants, and um, they literally like they brought these things out in the crates, still covered in cosmoline, and just set them on their racks. You got to pick one up, you get cosmoline all over your hands, and that's been a while back. David, considering you're buying your first Glock, I am interested in the G45. Which generation should I consider? Um, I currently have a couple of the Gen 5s. As soon as I find one, I will have a Gen 6. Personal preference, it's hard to say there again. Um, Either way, I mean, it's Glock. My personal preference, if you can find one, first of all, let me know so I can buy it. But I want the Gen 6. And some of the ergonomics that's there, they got a little bit better palm swell. If you can get your hands on one, and literally like the Gen 5 and then the Gen 6, feel the difference between the grip and that little bit of a palm swell, the beaver tail, and things like that that's already on it, the texturing. You know, the features that's on the Gen 6, that's why I can say right now I want a G45 Gen 6. And I have literally messaged gun stores saying, tell me when you get one because I will be there to pick it up. And they could probably rip me off if they wanted to. But, you know, if you're interested in one of those, that's my favorite because for me, for my hands and everything, I can get a good grip on that gun. Um, Holster options, sight options. Shout out to XS Big Dot Sights. Uh, Not sponsored or anything like that, but XS Sights. Okay, everybody else going optics, give me a set of XS Big Dots. I'm happy. I talked about that in other videos. And the accessories, the guns just run. You know, the guns are made for one purpose, and that is to work. 88, I think it's over 80% of the world's military and police cannot be wrong about Glock. And the G45, you get a little bit higher capacity. Now, I will tell you, when you're concealing it, as far as printing or anything like that, yeah, the handle is slightly larger, but it's, eh, it doesn't really affect. I have no problem, you know, concealed carrying mine. And, um, you know, but it's up to you. You know, it's whatever you think. Me personally, yeah, if I get my hands on a G45 Gen 6, it's mine. And I will carry it. I mean, that's just personal opinion. The magazines, everything, I mean, are Glock. You know, what can you say? You know, they all work. What I would really like to see Glock do is come out with a higher capacity 43X. You know, something that has like the capacity of the um, Glock 19, but in the 43X size. And I know. There's aftermarket magazines for the 43X. Yeah. I get it. I've had them. I don't like them. I have had too many of those things fail on me. I have not had a reliable magazine that I would trust carrying in a 43X that is an aftermarket mag like that. Do you like the Model G45? I love the Model G45. I literally am sitting here in my pajamas that you guys can't see with a G45 on my hip. Yes, I have holsters where I can carry while I'm here at the house in my pajamas. And yes, I love the G45. Literally have mine, one of mine on my hip right now. My other one is my Templar. I'm sure you guys have probably seen that. Uh, Carry it occasionally, but most of the time I'm carrying the one that I've got on me right now. The Glock 19X, another great one. Love it. Love my Glock 19X. It sits in a duty holster with a light. That's the one. I think it's the only. Yeah, that is. That's the only Glock that I have that I keep a light on. Again, that is special purpose. A special purpose system is where that holster and gun lives, if you know what I mean. You know, that has a specific purpose. It lives a specific life, and it is set up a specific way. But yes, I love the G45. G45 is basically the Glock 19X, just in a black finish. There's not much difference in them. I think that little place on the front of them is about the only difference. But yes, if you're after a G45, I'm telling you, in my opinion, again, guys, you go with what works for you. But in my opinion, you're not going to go wrong. That's just my opinion. But again, if you see a Gen 6 before I do, let me know. Look me up. I'm trying to find one myself. You know, I like what they've done as far as the stippling with the little bit of a gas pedal there. The beaver tail is a big plus for me. I think that is great. Now, if you guys have watched my channel for a while, you know that I add that beaver tail backstrap on all of mine for the very simple reason, under stress, if you draw that firearm, the grip that you have on that gun when it comes out of that holster, it's probably the grip you're going to have throughout the duration of the fight. That's all there is to it. You're not necessarily going to have time to readjust your grip, so you want to have a good one if anything happens. You get that grip, that beaver tail, that helps you to get that high grip on that gun when it comes out, and also helps to keep you from getting that slide bite. Plus, if you get that slide bite, if you're high enough, you can cause a malfunction, and you don't want to do that, especially if you're trying to protect yourself. Yeah. Yeah, David, I mean, that's up to you. Again, get your hands on a couple different ones, feel them. I can tell you, just from the features that I've seen, with what's coming up on the Gen 6, yeah, I would say go with the Gen 6 if you can get one. And stay tuned to the channel because I'm telling you, when I get my hands on one, I'll have some videos on it. And as soon as I can find one, I'm going to have one. They're supposed to be out end of the month. I'm already looking. I'm telling you, I've already been calling multiple stores around here. People that I know, I've been harassing them. Literally, one lady that owns one not far from me. It's probably about an hour's drive. Sent her an email, or a message, and then like later on, sent her another message, and then like later on, showed up there, and then sent another message. So, yeah, she's probably ready to throw one at me. But anyways, and then a couple of other places too. I've called them just trying to get my hands on one. You know, have you guys heard yet? Y'all gonna be able to get one in yet? The G45 is what I'm after. The 17 is, I think, going to be a little earlier available, but I still think I'm going to hold out for the G45. I like that 19 size slide length. The 19 size slide length with the 17 grip. Perfect setup in my opinion. With a set of XS big dots. What else you guys got? Anything y'all want to talk about? Everybody ready for Monday morning going back to work? No, I'm not. Um, will your gun store let people pre-order one? I don't know. That's up to your gun store. You'll have to ask them. Wherever your gun store is, whoever you do business with, you'll have to talk to them about that. I think there's some places that do, and then some places that don't. Around here, nobody is. That's just around here. I think that you've got some of the online places, they're offering to like send you a notification email when they get them in stock, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, you just have to call around the shops that are around you and ask them. Depending on when you're looking to make the purchase or whatever, me personally, I'd wait a couple weeks. The release date, the official release date is supposed to be January 20th. We already know that they're starting to trickle out onto the market. There's already, there again, just get on YouTube and you can do a search for the Glock Gen 6, and there's already a lot of people, not all of them are big time YouTubers, that are making videos using the Glock Gen 6. I think I seen one, it was somebody, they were doing a comparison, and I think they were like 20,000 subs or whatever. It was one of the stores close to them that they were actually able to pick one up. And then, yeah, you've had some stores and places like that that have actually sent them out to people. Hey, Glock, I'm out here. I'm, talking about your stuff. And, they sent them to them. Apparently, I wasn't on that list. And even though my channel was twice as big, as small as my channel is, it was twice as big as a couple of them. But they're there. I mean, somebody's getting them somehow. So I'd say there's probably going to see more and more of them out and hit distributors. And in fact, I'm going to be calling tomorrow again in another couple of shops just to see if they have them yet, if they've got access to them yet. In your opinion on the M&P 380EZ, you're considering getting one of those. Have you looked at the 9mm version? The reason that I bring that up, um, again, you do what you want. 380 is not as effective as 9mm, but the guns. Now, as far as the 380s, I bought one for my mother, bought one for my wife. There again, the M&P, the EZs, only they're 9mm versions. Size-wise, they're comparable. The only difference is, as far as the manipulation of the slide, there is just a slightly heavier spring when you go to manipulate it. Still very easy to manipulate, but the guns themselves are good. One thing you want to do is make sure that you practice getting a proper grip on the gun, because if you do not get a proper grip on that safety, that grip safety, the gun don't go bang. Especially remember that under stress. But they're good guns. They are reliable guns. I also like the fact on the magazines, you've got those tabs on the sides for people like with arthritic hands. I've got a couple of videos on my channel on the 9mm if you want to look those up. But you can actually, you've got tabs on there, and I actually had a lady in my last concealed carry class, that's what she had. And you can push down the tabs on the side of the magazine to make it easier loading. I showed her that during the class. And they're great guns for what they're designed to be. I'm telling you, they're a good thing that they come out. Basically, it is a internal hammer fire gun. That's one of the ways that they make it so easy for racking the slide. Uh, Good guns. I mean, if you're thinking about picking one of them up, but just one thing, just compare the 9mm to the 380. Just again, personal preference. But Terry, I mean, hey, it's up to you. You've heard me say it for years. You're better off with whatever you're accurate with, whatever you are more comfortable shooting, than just something that somebody told you. But the gun itself, they're good guns. Yeah. If you like the 9mm, my personal preference, but again, do what you want, do what works for you. My personal preference would be the 9mm just because of the ammunition. 380, I have had on my range in classes. The one caliber, or well, I'll just list them. The calibers that I've had and seen the most malfunctions out of: 380, 22, and 45 ACP. Those are probably the three calibers that has had the most malfunctions in the classes that I've done. 22s, for obvious reasons. I had a guy show up. He had a 22 and he had some just super cheap bulk ammo. I don't know if it'd been wet or what, but it was like every other round. It had a malfunction, and uh, it was just terrible ammo. He literally had a different box with him. He started using a different box. Had no problems with that box whatsoever. But he just say, yeah, it's the gun. Not always. Sometimes it is the ammo. And literally, he just switched, but there again, just a couple of the 50 round boxes. He just went from using one to using the other. His problems went away. He didn't have any issues whatsoever. The 380s, different gun manufacturers. I've had just several different ones: Taurus, Ruger, and just a few different ones that have all had issues. Particularly like the Tauruses and the Ruger 380s, they've had issues. The lady that had the M&P, she did have a couple of malfunctions with hers during this last class. No big deal, nothing that couldn't be taken care of, but just throwing it out there. And then 45 ACP, and the reason I say 45 ACP is obviously when people would bring in 45 ACP, it's usually in a 1911. And in 1911s, if you do not have good magazines, you have an unreliable gun, period. If you have a 1911 that is not broken in well, you have an unreliable gun, period. I know people don't want to believe me when I say you've got to break in a 1911, but that is the reality. One guy had, it was a super custom Colt 1911. Very nice looking gun, very nice looking gun. And it was still sticky, if you know what I mean. It had not been run in, and he had a couple of hiccups on it. So, but those do exist. But again, that's up to you, your choice. But again, whichever one you go with, make sure you practice getting that proper grip. Because, and I've seen this all the time, and even when I've shot it myself, if you don't have just the right grip on that gun, that grip safety is going to do its job. And you're going to be standing there squeezing it, trying to figure out where it don't go bang. Anybody got anything else? Guys, I'm going to give just a couple more minutes, and we've been going at this for a little over an hour, and I think we've had a good little chat. I'm going to try to do this a little bit more, and if you got any ideas or anything like that in particular that you guys want to talk about at some point, just shoot me a message or something, or send me a comment. I do try to get through my comments, even though it's getting impossible. It's just impossible to see it. I like the feel of the equalizer too. Yep. Can you change the back strap on video model, backstrap on the video model Glock 45. Yes. You can change the backstraps on, I think, all the way from the Gen 4s, Gen 4, Gen 5, and I'm the Gen 6. You can change the backstrap. I have got a video on this video. No, and as far as the live stream, no, I cannot do any. You cannot touch anything firearm related during a live stream. YouTube will kill the stream immediately. But I do have a video on my channel to where I show you how you can actually change the backstrap on those. It's very simple to do. But yes, you can. And there's like a couple different sizes that comes with them, 2 or 3 different sizes. And, find out which one fits your hand the best. But yeah, just go back somewhere buried, just do a search, and there again, I've got a video showing you exactly step by step how to do it. Can't do it on live stream. They'll shut you down quick. But guys, it's been a little over an hour, and got a few other things I'm going to do. So I guess we'll jump off of here for tonight and come back some other time. I'll try to give a little longer notice next time I do a live stream, and that way we have time for more people to jump in. But guys, again, I appreciate it if everybody just takes the links to any of my videos that you want and shares those on your social media, because it really helps. And you too, you as well, Terry. Have a blessed night. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out all the links down below, all the affiliate links. Anything you buy through Amazon, you can go there, just click one of my links, and then go buy whatever you want to buy that helps out the channel too. I appreciate it, guys. And guys, I'm going to jump off here, and we'll see you next time.